but always want to be more creative. We want more love, we want more happiness, we want better things to hear, better things to think about. You know, if you're reading a book and your eyes are going through the book, but the book is not very interesting, and some music starts next door, your mind suddenly goes to the music.
There is a mantra that is given, there is a technique that is passed, and the technique takes us to this ocean of consciousness which is within us in a very, very natural, effortless way. And that's actually the biggest differentiator of the technique, that it is so simple that a 10-year-old kid can practice it. Clear? Over the last 5 decades, proving that the root cause solution to all conflicts lies in the Vedic technologies of India. This is why our speakers today are scientists. They understand how these technologies work, the depth of research behind it, and the mechanism of establishing a sustained state of peace for the whole world for less cost than 1 day of war. So with this, I would like to share with you. After this demonstration, we will welcome our panel, another expert, Dr. Ashley Deans, and we will open the floor for questions. Then we will adjourn for lunch, which will be in the adjacent room. During the lunch hour, you will have an opportunity for personal interviews with the speakers. We have set up lights and background at the side of the hall for interviews. On this side of the hall, please. Now it is a pleasure for me to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Tony Nader. Dr. Nader is the chairman of the Global Union of Scientists for Peace, an organization of leading scientists and world leaders dedicated.
His Holiness Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the ancient knowledge of Veda and Vedic literature and the traditions and technologies of this knowledge have been introduced to the world in a wide way and have been subjected to scientific research, as today's language is a language of science. We want to know what works, particularly in our case, where we are talking about something that on the surface level is intangible, which is consciousness. Because when we say we are looking at objects, we are looking at different aspects of reality, we see them through our senses, and we are sure everything exists as it is, as our senses show them to us. We see the sun rising in the sky, from the east goes to the west. We say the sun moves in the sky. Now, when you look deeper, you can find a different reality. And for centuries and millennia, it was thought that the sun moves in the sky, that the earth is flat, and it's not moving. And then, based on different thinking and analysis, it was discovered that actually it's the earth that's rotating around its axis that creates the sense of movement of the sun in the sky. And therefore, it was obvious for the scientists at that time that the sun is actually the center of the solar system, and the earth is rotating around it, and the earth is rotating around its axis, and that's what happens. That is fine, it's fear. So our senses and our habit of believing that all that there is material life, is energy and physical existence, and object is all there is, and that out of this comes suddenly something we call consciousness, which we experience as humans, is a very entrenched kind of feeling and belief in human tradition, culture, and society. That is to say, in modern kind of thinking and scientific thinking. Fortunately, the Vedic tradition has a different understanding of reality, and that is that ultimately consciousness is primary, and it is consciousness and its dynamics that lead to the experience and presence of a physical world. It's very hard to make the connection, because how could it be if consciousness is a field, that field appears as physical matter? Well, this is what we would like to consider with you, and if we don't answer these questions profoundly, we'll be happy to discuss them more in discussions and questions and answers. Suffice it to say that our primary understanding is that consciousness is non-local. It's something that is not limited in space. You know, the Earth exerts its gravitational field, the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets, the galaxies, they have their gravitational field, and that field is all over and extends beyond strict limited dimensions. It is like, in a simple way, the ocean and the waves. So you have the ocean and you have the waves on the surface of the ocean. You see the waves, they are localized, and if suppose you can see only the waves, then your mind and consciousness is limited on the existence of the waves. If you dive deep into the ocean, you discover that there is a field, that is the field, what we call a field, which is the entire intelligent person or beloved person or wealthiest person in the universe. If you're not conscious, then all of these things don't matter. So that's why we say consciousness is primary, and that's why beautifully Ramji, our master of ceremony, has expressed that UNESCO saying, which is everything starts in the mind and consciousness and awareness. Decisions for war, decisions for conflict, decisions to make a business, decisions to take a profession, to do something, all happens in the mind, all happens in consciousness. And we understand consciousness, not just human consciousness, but as a field that actually, again, manifests in different values. As you will hear, Dr. Hagelin, a great scientist, will express how this concept of field is and the different layers of expressions, just to give us an idea of how it works. So, how it works is on the basis of enlivening something which is the basis of everything, the field of consciousness. And that in the Vedic literature is beautifully expressed in Vedantic terms, and the fact that the field of consciousness is Satchitananda, that we are all that everything is that, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahm, Vedoham, and all of these values that are expressed, Aham Brahmasmi, are a reality in the scientific understanding today. I have had a chance and are actually the blueprint of our own human physiology, which means even the physical reality of our body is constructed according to the structure and function of Veda and Vedic literature. This is a huge topic, but it's very dear to my heart. I can't miss the occasion to express it to you, because it also demonstrates the profound relationship between consciousness as experienced by the rishis, and this is the Veda and the Vedic literature, and our even human body is constructed according to that, which means the shlokas, the mantras, the sutras, all of this are actually available in a physical form in our own body. And that's why human physiology is able to experience that unbounded field of consciousness and enliven it from its source, and therefore create an effect that is non-local. Because that's the main key. How can people somewhere create an effect everywhere? And that is because of non-locality. And science, physics, has discovered non-locality, because in quantum mechanics, we know that things interact with each other at infinite distances, and that is called entanglement. We know that in the fine aspect of quantum mechanics, there is non-locality, behavior, improved relationships, and also what we have seen beyond that, the effect on the whole society, which is our interest and concern really right now for the 10,000 group. So we have studied this scientifically, and in terms of group practice, you will hear more about how it works in coherence of the brain and in how brain coherence can spread to different individuals in what is now a very new and important science, which is called collective neuroscience. And all of these factors is actually being tested. All of these scientifically tested, repeatable, as we said, technologies have been tried again and again on a social level. The way it worked out is in the early 70s, Maharishi was teaching transcendental meditation in the world, and it was discovered that when 1% of the people in any town or city practiced transcendental meditation, the crime was reduced in those cities and towns. So Maharishi had predicted that. That's why we call that the 1% effect or the Maharishi effect, the effect predicted by Maharishi, where a small number of people can create an effect in the whole society. As the knowledge advanced, Maharishi brought to light.
The speaker on the video is Dr. John Hagelin. He cannot join today, but he recorded that video especially for this press conference. And Dr. John Hagelin is now currently in Fairfield, Iowa, and he is a world-renowned physicist and a well-published, Harvard-trained, also quantum physicist. He's the president of the extraordinary results of this experiment and of another experiment the Maharishi effect is creating. And he will explain also the Maharishi effect to you. And please go ahead and play the video recording.
Liberating factors like poverty, oppression, injustice, hatred, bigotry. We all know that's not easy. Alternatively, we can reduce the stress. And there are powerful techniques, especially the Transcendental Meditation Program, as brought by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, is a very powerful stress buster. TM markedly reduces individual and societal stress. The Pentagon uses Transcendental Meditation, the Veterans Administration in the US uses Transcendental Meditation to reduce the